Hey guys, it's Elena. Today I wanted to experiment with an idea of doing a digital painting on top of a wood slice image. So this is something that I've seen on social media and it's a fun technique. I've never really seen it done digitally, so I just wanted to try it out. So I will be working on this in Procreate as always, and I will be using my Painterly brush set to make this painting. And so let's go ahead and get started. So to start out with, I've got Procreate open here, and I'm just going to take my Unsplash app over to the right side, and then I'm going to search on Unsplash for wood slice. And so we've just got some images here, and I wanted to use this one from Mockup Graphics, and I will put a link to it in the description in case you want to download the same image. It's all free on Unsplash. So I'm just going to take that image and then drop it into Procreate like this, and then that should import it, and then we have a new image here. So I'm just closing that now, and we've got our wood slice image, and you can see in the layers panel we have one layer, and that's the image. So I'm going to make a new layer above the wood slice. I'm just going to name my layers wood slice, and then this one I'll just call it paint one. So I only wanted to paint on top of the wood slice and not all around it. So obviously I could just paint only in this area, and maybe you are really good at painting inside the lines, but I'm not. So I'm just going to take an extra precaution of making a mask. So I'm going back to the wood slice layer where the image is, and then I'm going to my ribbon tool, my selection tool. I'm on automatic here, and I'm just going to tap the background, and you can see that as I'm sliding left, I'm selecting less and less. And then as I'm sliding right, I'm selecting more and more. So I want to have the wood slice selected, but not anything else. So about there. So actually what's happened now is I've selected the background, but not the wood slice. So hitting invert, now we have only the wood slice selected. And so with that selection still active, we have this blue still going on up here. We're going up to the layers panel and then tap that paint layer that's empty currently, tap it again and tap mask. So that means that in this layer here, we can only paint in this circle. So if I try to paint outside of it, you can see it doesn't go off the edges. So now that we are in the paint layer here, I'm just going to have a look at my color palette. So I have one called Monet Twilight, which is included in the Painterly brush set. And this is the one that I wanted to work with because I was thinking about a sunset scene with a lot of yellow and a lot of blue in it. And I've got my Painterly brush set open. And if anyone is interested in using these particular brushes, there is a link to purchase those in my shop in the description, or you can work on the same concept with some other brushes, maybe some of the standard Procreate brushes or any other brushes that you have. So to start out with, I wanted to fill out the background with kind of a blue, and I'm just going to block my colors in to start with. So to do that, I will just go ahead and work on the dry oil brush in the Painterly brush set. And I'm just gonna go with one of these medium blue colors and just kind of start swiping around. And this isn't going to be pretty, but I'm just going to start putting the colors in. And I am going to try and avoid going around to the edges. So I wanna kind of see that bark. I'm just gonna go with one of these lighter colors and add some more in the middle here. I'm still just kind of mixing my blues in. Just gonna go with white and keep putting some of this in here in the sky. I'm using kind of a light touch to add this in. So this part is gonna be a lake. So it's a lot of the same colors as the sky, but I'm just going with it. Just gonna go a bit brighter and lighter on that same blue for the lake. Going back to white and adding more. Still using the dry oil brush. Now I'm switching to yellow, still using the dry oil brush and still blocking colors in. I always like to switch back to white every now and then just to add some lighter streaks into whatever I'm working on. So I want to switch brushes here, and I wanted to go with my palette knives at this point. So I'm switching to my soft streaky palette knife, and I still have white selected, and I'm just going to experiment with adding some blocky strokes up here for the sky. Now I'm just going to vary the color. So I've got this really light blue, but I'm just going to go to my value tab and experiment with that and make it a bit lighter so that I just have kind of an off-white blue. Definitely enjoying that texture in there. So I'm going to keep with that. I thought maybe I could use just a bit of gold in the sky as well. Using kind of a light stroke to add that in just one place. Kind of like a sunrise. So now I wanted to add some trees along here, and just going into my colors here, I'm just going to mess around again with the value tab to get the sort of dark green that I'm looking for. I think I'm going to switch to my soft pointed palette knife in order to add these tree shapes. So I wanted to add kind of a line around here maybe. Maybe it could go up this way. Let's see how that goes. It's really big, so I'm just changing my brush size. I'm not sure about this color, but I'm just going to keep on adding a few more in this color, and then I'll add more other colors. I'm also not sure about that size. Making that a bit smaller. You might have seen I had to kind of adjust the size a little bit because I wanted to have this kind of streaky, harsh looking stroke instead of the soft one. So I adjusted the size to be smaller so that I could use plenty of pressure to get this without it going big. And let's just make that color quite a bit darker and continue adding more strokes. And it is picking up some of the color from down here, but that is absolutely okay with me. I know that trees are not blue, but let's go ahead and make some blue trees. So let's go ahead and go to the super dry down here at the bottom. I'm going to try with that. Yes, that is definitely what I want. So I'm just kind of roughing it up with a light touch down at the edge of the bottom of the trees. And we'll do the same in white. And I just want to do the same on this area and start working on this area as well. I wanted to kind of have some strokes going over this to make it look like a lake. And maybe I'll switch back to the palette knives. And I'm going to go with the dry palette knife. And back to some of these yellows and see if I can just add some streaks coming out over the lake. Back to the soft streaky palette knife to add some small brush strokes like I did up here. My rule of thumb when I'm doing any kind of messy painting like this is just anything I'm not happy with, I'll just paint over it until I am. I just realized I made a very silly mistake and made the whole thing kind of slanted. So I'm just gonna try and see if I can fix that. I'm just going back to my super dry and white, and then I'm going to rough this up as well, like I did earlier. I kind of messed up here, but I actually like it. I don't know, it just makes the whole thing look a bit more real to me. So I'm going to keep it. Going back to my soft streaky palette knife, I'm just going to add more white up here, maybe with the dry palette knife actually, just to add a bit of dimension. This whole thing got a bit flat. I'm just adding some final touches here. A little bit more white here. A little bit more yellow up here. Maybe make that super saturated and a little bit brighter. And maybe just add another bigger tree with the soft pointed palette knife again, because this whole thing just feels a little bit like there's just not enough going on, and I certainly don't claim to be a landscape painter, so I'm just kind of experimenting with it, but it feels a bit boring, so I'm adding another big tree over here. Oops, I'm still in yellow. Let's switch back to blue. Make a nice big blue tree. Finish off, let's just make some soft palette knife, big strokes up here somewhere. So I'm just going to pick a spot I don't like and then make a big stroke over top of that. I'm just varying my white to like white and off-white to just add a bit more variation. Okay, so I think that I'm done. And just to show you what it looks like without the painting, you can just turn that off and the wood slice is still down there and we've got the painting covering that up. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I would love to see what you come up with. You're very welcome to tag me on Instagram or share your work in our Facebook group. All the links are in the description, and I will see you next time.